Hey, button pushers, welcome back to Sagebrush. It's time to cast controller once again. Last time we started off in the mines, I believe. We discovered Peyton's corpse behind a wall in the mine and learned that he was killed, maybe not well before, but at least significantly in amount of time before the actual whatever happened here happened, and that the rest of the flock were simply told that he had chosen to leave. He had not. Um, His corpse had a note about a key to the second floor of James's house. We dug that key up out of the ground where it was said in the note, which was in the farm. We came here. We went to his beautiful, wonderful abode. Uh, Found evidence of the drug use that Peyton had already found out. Found a TV where we put the VHS in, which thank God was not secretly porn, like I had worried when I first saw it. Instead, it was him practicing his speech. How do I get out of here? This way. In that room and in that video, we learned the code for a safe. And inside the safe was a seal and a scripture mentioning that the temple that needed to be constructed needed to be a specific dimension and size, have a king-size bed, and have enough food and ammunition to last 2 people 100 days. This is why you aren't supposed to go outside in the dark, because I just got very turned around and lost. This flashlight and the moon does not help very much. So there's the church. Now for this final video, I don't know if it's going to be longer or shorter compared to the rest. I probably could have put his bedroom in with this half, but I don't know how much is going to be in the church. I feel like it's either going to be not a lot, and it's just going to be like the cap end stone, the candle on top, or it's going to be a lot. And I want to make sure I had time for a lot, just in case. I'm not... Okay, I thought it stopped me from being able to sprint for a second, which made me very worried about the implications of that. There's still a light on in there. Speaking of implications, we are now at the temple with the seal that's supposed to work here. Examine chapel door lock. And if what's inside this space isn't very big or doesn't entertain us for very long, in order to make this video a little bit longer, I'll talk about more of my thoughts about the actual thing. A large golden medallion. Actually, now that you look closely, it's gold paint on plaster. Ha! The shade this game is throwing on its own cult. Oh, you think you can have a golden key like somebody important? I'm just surprised it wasn't air-dry clay. Maybe that is what it means by plaster. You place the seal on the door and hear a click somewhere inside the mechanism. The lock is open. You don't need to do anything else to this. Okay. Gotta say, a little part of me expected 2 people with guns. But this must not be the temple referred to with the bed. Okay, hold up. When we were outside, we were able to see light coming from in here. Now that we're inside, there's not a damn thing. Continuity error or suspicious? The world may never know. There's their actual church. Don't know what that is, other than gross, I suppose. No way to interact with. It's just the same portrait. Nothing's happening on that organ, I suppose. Is that just stuff from outside leaking in because of poor workmanship? All that is in here is this tape deck, huh? I probably didn't need to make this its own episode then. We'll see what's through that door after we see what's on this tape deck.
Don't be afraid. There's no need to be afraid. We must go through the flames, but the flames will not hurt us. Not our true selves, our spiritual selves.
I'm sorry?
I know his will, and it's time.
So presumably we
This
can
world
hear
is
the flames
molded
in
in filth.
the
It's
thing,
too far
but
gone.
it's didn't leave any
They
flame
sent
marks on the building.
demons test our resolve. They expected us to give up the fight, but here, today, we prove to all of them that we never gave up. Our faith never wavered. Today, we take our place at the foot of the throne of the Lord.
I shouldn't be next to
Here
this
now.
door.
We'll dull the bodies a little. There's no need for it to hurt. Here, drink this.
I thought the whole point was that pain was
right.
how you paid for your suffering.
Things will go a little fuzzy, but then the flames will take us, and we will join our Lord in his heaven. We will be by his side forever, where we belong. Amen. Amen. Boy, I love each and every one of you so much. God bless.
It's a couple
When they locked the doors, and then Andrew and Leonard started soaking rags in lighter fluid while I started handing out the cups. Little paper cups full of crushed up Quaaludes mixed with lemonade. Father kept preaching as we drank. They lit the rags and put them around the outer walls. Everything caught so quickly.
And how is the building
everything
still
was
intact?
on fire, and people just sat down in it. Let it take them. Something clicked. I don't know what. I needed to get out. I didn't want to die. I remembered Father's temple and I ran.
Well, a couple more notes there. Namely, that is the first tape deck where it changed the environment. And I'm not certain about my next thing because I didn't get a chance to like pause and tell, but I think that was so lit up, so red, that I think it changed my skin tone a little bit in the video because of just all that fire on my screen blasting at my face. I'm a little bit confused about the tape decks and how they work because it included his sermon and the sounds of the fire, but also included Lillian speaking about it after the fact, right after. So that she recorded the incident, or she recorded a retelling of it later. I don't know. It had his voice, though. What I do know is that this is a remarkably not even charred building, considering they all supposedly lit it on fire. Like, that's still bothering me, actually. And I don't know how much of this is the game choosing to do this as artistic license, and how much of it is them just not thinking of it. Excuse you. I would like if you weren't loud, door. This is with the light switch? Oh. No. I understand that I'm probably going to have to fire axe my way through the bookshelf, but that's not what I'm ready for yet. Nothing of note there, huh? Just this glowing journal. Don't you remember? Don't you remember how you survived? Why don't you want to remember? Great, it moved. I might be Lillian. Because that didn't look like it was on fire, this might be some kind of trauma escape. You know why. When the time came, you couldn't face the Lord. Your doubt had eaten away at you. You didn't join them in their glorious death. But in your doubt, neither did you save them. I did think about how Lillian passed out those cups and didn't... Oh, poor Juliet, little 11-year-old. You are a coward. What the fuck? I'm sorry? Me. Oh, I'll have to axe down the bookshelf with the fire axe. The game. Nope. We'll just jump scare you with it. Oh, fucking hell. Not to state it too explicitly, but how deep does this go? The hallway and this nonsense. I don't like this. Don't know what magic I'm going to do in the editing, but I just walked up and down this whole corridor trying to find what is presumably this episode's thumbnail. So something seems a little skittery, that's why. I have not gone through this door yet, just walked right up to it and then stopped. Was that blood or decorative tiles? Another altar. Hooray. Blood or tiles? A painting depicting Christ's dead body being removed from the cross at Golgotha. A reprint of an etching of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Another altar, also bathed in red light, sitting under a wall of religious imagery. Lillian? For friends. Nobody hiding there? I see a tape deck. We're going around to that. The covers are still rustled from the few nights you spent here. I don't like this. I guess we're Lillian. I didn't know that when I said we were the POV character. Static, which means there's another VHS somewhere. Peekaboo. Okay. This bookshelf is full of fringe religious texts and several copies of Father James' works. In one lower corner tucked away, there is a stack of comic books. Okay, tape deck.
The door shut behind me and everything was dark and completely silent, as if the burning chapel and all the people dying behind me didn't exist. The drugs took over then, and it was all I could do to crawl into bed before I passed out.
Okay, so she did drink the lemonade. Two chairs, king-sized bed, two people. The only question is who he was planning on sequestering himself with. Hell of a bomb bunker. This refrigerator is full of spoiled food. The smell fills the room as soon as you open the door. Kind of a link back to the same thing in the kitchen of the rec room. Military grade rifles. Military grade rifles. Can't wait to find the VHS. It goes deeper than this? Okay. No. No, 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 no. Do not do this to me. It's gonna take my flashlight away at the most inopportune time. It's also not letting me turn it off. It is. Yep. Another altar, huh? Another altar, also bathed in red light. I know what these things are now. Great, 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 great. I don't like this. Come on, there is no way it didn't choose to let my flashlight fail then. Yep.
Man, who started the fire?
So I had my suspicions as soon as the book started moving on the table. Honestly, no, it was a little bit before then. As soon as it showed everybody being lit on fire and no signs of fire in that church, I began to suspect that this was perhaps not a literal happening. That perhaps we were in a mindscape of some sort. I just didn't say it out loud because I got really sick of predicting horrible things I didn't want to happen. So I was like, if I stay quiet, maybe it won't do that. Great. We're the only survivor, and we're going through our memory of the events, and this is just a mind palace.
Ma'am, I know you've been through a lot, but we need your cooperation to piece all of this together. Who started the fire?
Pretty much everyone. Father James lit the first flame, but the others helped it spread.
So they weren't coerced.
No. They were weeping with joy. People were singing.
And you?
Creepy.
What did you do?
Does she lie?
Ma'am?
Does she tell the truth? Is this guilt because she lied? 2 doors, huh? How do I know which one's which? Open door. This is the one I came from, right? Open door. Okay. I really don't like that they took my flashlight away, gotta say. They didn't even start you with the flashlight, but my emotional support, we're going lower. Or higher? No, still lower. Great, another altar. We've got trauma.
Honey, you're being quiet.
I don't know what to say.
It's just... Lillian, was it something we did?
Dad,
I just don't understand how you could run off and join some insane cult.
I don't know, Dad. I don't know.
You're a smart girl. What were you thinking? Lillian, the things I've heard on the news. Where are you going?
How judgmental. She needs help and support, and we're so glad you got out of there. I'm glad you didn't burn alive, honey. I don't like that the lights are red now. Things are not what they seem at Sagebrush. I thought this was about being a detective. I didn't know it was about already knowing everything that happened and just being very, very guilty about it.
So, Lillian, have you been having any more thoughts since your last attempt?
All the time.
It seems as if you almost regret surviving the fire.
I don't know. I don't. It's so confusing. I didn't want to die, but I feel like I let them all down.
Let them down because you didn't save them? Or because you didn't die with them?
I don't know anymore.
Well, listen to me. No matter what, you deserve to live. I promise you.
How friendly that therapist sounds.
Lillian, you deserve to live.
I need to go. I can't do this right now. I can't.
So it's letting me go back, and I'm choosing not to, but I do wonder if the ending to the game would change if you at any point ran back to the cult. Because I'm just going to pause because I don't want to, just in case. My speculation is what would have been, if it isn't, a really cool ending to this would be if you could choose to keep going deeper and you figure out what happened fully, everything that happened after her, or if at any point you could run back to the temple, and like when you got to the temple, if everything lit on fire again and then the game ended, to show her retroactively choosing to die with the cult, and this is choosing to work through everything that happened to her, because it's gotten redder, and I don't know, but it is still letting me go back. This is getting very red now. Oh, there's more paintings. Not sure what that one's supposed to be. A bar. Uh-oh.
I'm sure you don't want to hear me ramble about mechanical engineering for another 20 minutes. Tell me more about you. You studied communications, right? What kind of job does that get you?
Well, right off the bat, not much. I couldn't find work, so I ended up backpacking through Europe for a year after college.
Oh, cool. I've always
Did
wanted
she
to do
actually,
something
or
like
is that her
that.
cover
I
story
bet
for
it
the
was
cult?
amazing.
Yeah, it was super fulfilling to see all those different ways of life. Really eye-opening. God, that was a long time ago.
Man, I'm jealous. I jumped right into work after school. Working 70, 80 hours? You know how it is. Just expected to devote everything to it. It's like a religion.
Uh-oh.
It took me a while to see how messed up it was.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, Lillian. She's trying her hardest to be normal, but after something like this, how would you ever? How would you ever go through something like this? Any measure of it, let alone to Lillian's degree of having had a hand in that and doubted herself too late. Okay. Gotta say, that's, not ideal. Also just realized that we've been descending further and further, and descending is something people do into hell. That doesn't look like a door. The music changed. The door closed, but that was delayed. I don't like this. I'm not. That was a car. Do I jump in front of a car? Lillian, don't. Lillian.
You have one unheard message. First unheard message sent yesterday at 7:15 p.m.
Lil, is everything all right? I've been trying to get a hold of you all
Tim
day.
is who she was talking
Please
to
pick
at the
up.
bar.
I'm worried about you. Okay, just call me back. Love you.
End of message. To delete this message, press 7. Message deleted.
Uh-oh. Two things. One, Tim is the person she was talking to in the bar, and the way he casually drops "love you" instead of "I love you" is usually something that occurs after you've been with someone for a while. That looks very like the first room we walked into at the beginning of all of this traumatic cycle knowledge. Do they have to choose blood specked tile coloring, by the way? Goodbye, car. I really hope we didn't drive you into a pole. I still don't have a flashlight anymore. Okay, so now the door has shut. I'm expecting when I open it to be back to the first room with the bed and the TV. Only this time I expect there's going to be a VHS somewhere. Called it. Well, partially. Is this a new tape deck? Or do I have to make my way back up? What's with this music? Okay, use tape deck doesn't appear to be working. Their use of music to constantly change. It's getting louder. The use of music to constantly change the tone of what's happening is adding a lot, considering the... Does this look burned now? Okay, that might just be a texture error, TBH. But, the rest of this looks pretty burned now. Yeah. Yeah, when we first came into this building, we saw it as it was. But now we're seeing it as it is, as the sun rises. So I'm getting the impression... Okay, that car... I probably should have recognized it, but it's a pixel car. that car that we saw in the last room was probably from us driving to come here. Because I think that back from when I played this the first time for like a week ago, I think that it matches the car we came in. And if it was very last second impulse that we didn't bring things like batteries for our flashlight, our own bolt cutters. But now this actually looks like it must have done after it was actually burned down. That's kind of funny though, the cross falling onto the altar like that. There's the ground that was seeping in around the piano. No bodies, but I suppose they would have decayed by now. Or at least been exhumed, since this part wasn't locked. Kind of strange that we did have to go and get the lock to get in here, but...
I remember now. I've tried not to. I thought I could move on. Pretend it hadn't happened.
So you went
But here it
backpacking.
is. I'm looking at it. I was here. We were all here. And now it's just me.
Talk about survivor's guilt. Tim? Please? Call back Tim.
Oh, Lil, Jesus, there you are.
Thank God.
We're trying to get a hold of you for hours. Where are you?
I had to take care of something.
Look, are
I
you
can't really
okay?
hear their voices, so it's
I was
not
getting
you.
worried.
It's not.
Yes, I'm fine. I'm heading home now. Tim, there's some things I need to tell you.
Yeah, if you're with someone that long, I think it's understandable to excuse it away in the beginning with a stranger by just saying, oh yeah, I was backpacking in Europe for that.
I met Anne first, waiting for the bus. Normally, I avoid talking to just about anybody, but she struck up the conversation. She was so pleasant, so confident. She smiled at me as if she had known me as a kid, and we were just catching up after all these years.
Well, I am
She
just
told me
so
she could tell I had a hole in my
incredibly
life.
glad that
She
that
knew what
didn't
that
end up
was
her
like,
killing
she
herself.
said. She had also had a hole, but it
I
was
was
gone now.
so convinced that was
I asked
going
her
to
what she was
end
selling, and she laughed
her
and
hurting
said
herself
nothing.
somehow.
Nothing at all.
And
That
instead
what she
she
had to
went
offer
here
was
for
free
closure.
for anyone who wanted it bad enough. I
And
asked her
also,
what
I
had
guess,
helped
Peyton's
her.
body.
She just said, James.
And you know, considering Peyton probably didn't have his real name when he was in this cult, by finding his body, if she reports this to anybody, as she should, cast Lillian, Sarah Behrens, James, Nathaniel Behrens, Detective gone. Anyway, there's a chance that her coming back for closure might have also gotten closure for that FBI agent, because presumably they would have known who they sent here, but this is the way they at least know what happened to him. Thank you for playing. Total time, 3 hours and 3 minutes. Tapes found 14 out of 12? Or 12 out of 14? There's no way I found bonus tapes, but which 2 tapes did I miss? I'm pressing any button anywhere. Oh. I hit escape and the whole game went away. Okay. That was atmospheric, eerie, very well done. It used its pixelated graphics as part of the storytelling. It did not feel like that was a game made with those graphics because that was the only engine they could manage. It felt like they chose those graphics intentionally to tell a story with the exact level of obfuscation, I can't say it, flashed on the screen, that they wanted. Because with these kinds of games, you could go like Outlast, where you can take your video camera and zoom in enough to see that, oh, that is intestine. There's somebody's finger. Creepy, totally accurate details. The closest they got to really creepy here was the body. We found Peyton's body. And I'm pretty certain that the only part of that was a dream sequence are the part where the church is intact when she walks in. I think she's so enmeshed in her memories when she first walks in that she sees it as it was and not as how it's been left. And of course, the way she went deeper and deeper into the bunker to sort of relive herself from there to now. I think everything else is sort of as it was. It was Lillian coming back and finding things chained up and stuff like that. It was her finding trailers rusted shut. It was her finding that stuff. And putting her hands all over a bloody shovel she knew was a murder weapon. That was probably not a dream sequence, unfortunately. Anyway, I definitely think this game is outside my usual genre, and I'm still really glad I played it. I've noticed that I'm ending up with a lot of visual novels for the annual Blast of Cast because they're the games that have story, are low combat, and end within 4. Like, I usually try to look for things that aren't more than 3 or 4 hours long for the annual Blast of Cast. So all I've really played these past few years for these are visual novels like this, or actual visual novels that are like the Analog A Hate Story, if you guys have been around that long. But this one had a particular... Its atmosphere reminded me of Gone Home, in the way that you're finding a story that the person telling already knows, which was really cool because they did it so carefully that I couldn't tell for quite a while that we were Lillian, that we were the point of view character, that that tape deck was us speaking. I'm not sure if I would have been happier if it was a stranger finding this and unraveling it without that kind of input, but it does make the tape decks make more sense, because now we know that she probably recorded them after this trip. That might even have been her... That might have been a transcription of her telling Tim about it, to be honest. That would be cool. If that was just how it included what happened after the story, while the story was happening. Because the thing she ended with was, Tim, there's some stuff I need to tell you. And then it went straight to what the first thing she said was when the game launched, which wasn't necessarily a tape deck, but the first thing said, which was, I met Anne first at a bus stop, and here's how I ended up in a cult. This was really, really well made. Really well done. I do not regret playing this in the slightest. I'm very glad I played this way instead of as a stream, because I feel like as a stream I wouldn't have taken it as seriously, because I would have had a chat to like bounce off of, and I know the people that I know, we're all kind of snarky assholes, and even now I snarked at the game as I was going through it. I enjoyed the game. It was really well made, and it is on itch.io. I will have a link to both the game, some resources about cults, and some resources about abuse in the description of all of these videos. I'll include flashing light warnings on this last episode especially, because some of them had a couple flickers, but this one was real bad. If you made it through all of these videos, which it should be 10 of these videos, thank you for being here for the annual Blast of Cast 2023. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you're here, and I hope you had a nice time. That's going to mark the end of my turn. Let me just cast the controller on back to you, and I hope you pass along again soon. Bye-bye, guys.